I've really enjoyed this expansion, especially the ability to glide. Oh, silver wastes. Howdy folks, and welcome back to another episode of Tyria Talk. My name is Richie Procopio, aka Otter, and this show is all about Guild Wars 2. Today is episode number 87, and today we're going to be talking about the changes that went into guild missions as part of the Heart of Thorns expansion. Now this might feel like a little bit of a weird topic since we are a couple of weeks after the launch of the expansion, and there's so many things to talk about: the story, the progression system, all the new content. But really, I need to focus on guild missions because, for those of you who watch my channel a lot, you realize that, we take guild missions very seriously in my guild. We have made this a weekly thing. I make a weekly video and sometimes stream our guild missions videos. So guild missions to me and my friends that hang out in Guild Wars 2 it was a big part of our experience, and some of the changes that went in as part of the expansion has altered this experience, and mostly not for the better so far. So I wanted to kind of talk about what happened and what are some of the issues that me and my friends have been experiencing in-game, with the hope of maybe kind of bringing these issues to light and hoping for some changes down the line. When ArenaNet put up the blog post before the expansion released, kind of explaining that some changes to guild missions were occurring, I was a little bit nervous about that. I kind of sensed some things would go awry. And some of those things became founded and some of them were not. One of my concerns originally was they were going to make guild missions into a progression system for guild halls. So when you first unlocked your guild hall, you wouldn't have as many missions as you do now, and you'd have to kind of unlock the ability to progress through more missions. And you know what? For the first week or so, it wasn't great. Like the first week, we didn't have any PvE missions rolled for us. They rolled them randomly, and we had to do world versus world and PvP missions, which were kind of awkward. But even like by the second week, we started getting enough slots and that we can get into the regular rotation again. So that really wasn't a big deal for us specifically. All right, but let me jump into the main thrust of my concerns about the way guild missions are run now, and then I have a bunch of other feedback, both positive and negative, about some of the changes that we see here. The biggest thing that is affecting me so far, and this is affecting both my regular guild that I run guild missions with every week, Maven, and also the Otter community guild, which is the Ottoman Empire. We've had problems with both of them, and that is due to the rewards not triggering. And I believe it has something to do with now that certain types of missions are instanced, but it's not a complete product of that itself. So let me walk through the two examples where this has happened to me. The first example was with the Ottoman Empire Guild. We were trying to do the Ghost Wolf Guild Rush. And what happened was, while we were in the middle of running that rush, trying to get our 15 players to finish the rush, we all got a pop-up that says, your guild has started a mission in a different instance of this map. Would you like to join? Accept or cancel. Now this happened in the middle of the run, like 5 or 10 minutes after we had already started running this thing. And so we had everybody in the guild hit accept, and it teleported us to a new map, and with the credit reset back to 0. So we actually... We already had completed the rush a few times, and we had like maybe 4 of 15 or 5 of 15 completed. And now we had to suddenly do it again. So we're back to 0. Well, we just said, all right, whatever, we'll start over. We started the guild rush over. We got to 15 of 15 complete, and the event completed for our guild. Our guild actually got the favor points for it, but none of us got personal rewards. I was not able to get any kind of little wiggle chest or any reward as a result. So we decided to run it again. So we launched the mission again from the guild. We started to run it, and we got a couple people completing it. And then all of a sudden, a guild pop-up all of a sudden spawns. It says, your guild has started a mission in a different instance of the map. Would you like to join? And so we said yes again. And we got reset to 0 completions again, and we ran the whole thing again, and still did not get personal rewards. So we ran it a third time. We launched the mission a third time. Once again, we got the pop-up. It happened at different intervals. It didn't happen like right away or at different times. We made sure that there was nobody on like the EU side that was trying to do the mission at the same time. We made sure everybody was in the same map before we began, and we had nobody, no guild officers or anything were clicking that flag. But again, we got that pop-up. This time we hit cancel. And we hit cancel. It allowed us to stay in the instance that we were in. It allowed us to continue the completion for the guild rush. And once again, when it finished, we got no personal rewards for it. So we just chalked it up as oh well, we can't get rewards today. So then a week or so later, I jumped on, this actually happened just a couple nights ago, I was jumping on guild missions with my other guild, Maven. We were doing the Proxemics Lab guild puzzle. And we had a problem where we got to the end of the little labyrinth at the very end of the puzzle. And a bunch of people that were in the guild got personal rewards, and a bunch of us didn't. Just flat out did not get a chest. Nothing happened. There was no little pop-up like last time. Just a whole bunch of us didn't get credit. And so we decided to start over and try it again to try to get the rest of the guild credit. This is when halfway through, it says a pop-up came up for me, and it said, your guild has started this mission in a different instance of the map. Would you like to join? I hit accept. I went through the whole entire puzzle again. And we got to the end, and a couple more people got their chests. I still did not. There were several other people in my group that did not get it. And so, in general, this has been my biggest complaint. Now you're jumping into instances, whereas before it was all in the open world. And there was a little bit of there was like good and bad that came with that. Sometimes you'd meet up with the same guilds week to week and you could run the things together and it was kind of fun. Sometimes you didn't have to do a whole lot because they'd already cleared it for you. And sometimes you were the guild that was clearing it for others. But it was kind of fun to see people in the open world. But at the other times, there could be a guild that wanted to do it themselves and they would show up and they wouldn't necessarily participate because they wanted to wait for their turn. And what their presence did was scale up the encounter and make it much more difficult. Crab Toss comes to mind as one that could be scaled up. There was also the one with the crystals that all need to be killed at the same time. In different ways that other guilds coming in could actually impact it. So on the one hand, it might be cool to have it in instances like they did for Heart of Thorns. But on the other hand, it's kind of fun to kind of encounter other guilds and say hi to them and help each other out. But in any case, it seems like maybe this instance technology has come up with a couple of issues with how the rewards are structured. I have no idea why I'm getting that pop-up. Your guild has started a mission in a different instance of this map. And this little pop-up doesn't seem to do anything because I've done it both ways where you hit accept or cancel and I still don't get the reward. So what's the point of even giving me that pop-up? So this is something that I think that needs to be looked at. I'm going to include a snippet here of actual voice chat that went on during one of my guild missions where we kind of experienced this no rewards issue and a little bit of my playing around and testing it with multiple guilds. You'll see this in a second. Check this out.
After you turn this in, nobody accept credit. Just walk into the other room. Nobody hit the accept credit button.
Ready?
Okay.
Yep. When you hit accept or decline, just everybody walk into this room.
Okay.
Slowly. RP walk.
Everybody's in here.
Alright.
Now hit accept.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Oh wait, you don't get the reward yet. Just you gotta wait a second.
Hold on.
Okay.
The mission hasn't completed.
Too bad.
There we go.
Anders.
And still nothing.
Nothing. Wait.
I got my.
I'm channeling the energy, guys.
I knew it wasn't going to work for me. Absolutely knew it.
Are you effing
Ridiculous.
Is there a limit to how many people get it?
I don't know.
Don't say that.
That's the case.
Don't say that.
For the people who didn't get rewards for this puzzle, we can look sometime later in the week, run it with a smaller group. Probably more likely to get the reward with that group.
Yeah.
2.
You want to know something even dumber? I just switched to the Bog Guild, right?
Yeah.
I activated the guild puzzle, walked through the door again, hit accept credit. The guild got credit. I still don't get any treasure.
What?
I quit. I'm done.
Furthermore, the instance maps create a situation where the mini-map doesn't actually work. It kind of puts you in the mists. These maps, these instance maps are actually located in the mists, and when you hit the M for map, you don't get an overview of the area that you're in anymore. And this is particularly challenging in certain ones of the guild missions. For example, like Proxemics Lab, at the end, there's a maze. There's a maze where you have to get like these 6 orbs of light, and you have to transfer them from one part of the maze to the exit, and it's a lot harder to do when you can't use a mini map. And I don't know, that seems a little frustrating to me. Another one that's a little bit difficult is Deep Trouble. Deep Trouble, you're swimming underwater trying to rescue these captive quaggan, and to kind of locate where the quaggan are, you use your mini map. You bring up the map and you see how many are still left to rescue, and you can't do that anymore. And I don't know, it's a change we'll get over as we get more familiar with it, but it's a little bit frustrating nonetheless. So if you look at the footage on the screen right now, you're going to see me about to complete a guild rush. This is another one of the issues they're having. I just got to the end of the guild rush. I went through all of the flags, so I didn't miss any of the flags, and it didn't transform me back into a Norn and accept my credit for this. So here's our strategy to getting this done. You basically run backwards a little bit, go back through the race, and then you turn around, and then you go back and finish it again. And if you do this 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times, eventually it just triggers and allows you to transform. So we had our whole guild doing this the other day. Some people on their way back, of course, would die and then have to start all over again. But this was the only way to kind of get it to count. And it's kind of silly. I don't know why this is doing this. Now, we still got rewards as a result of doing this rush. But like I said, with my other guild, I did have problems with that pop-up coming up and then getting denied rewards in the rush. But this is another different issue where it's not actually, kind of triggering when you actually do complete the rush. And here we go. Like, I've gone back and forth a few times, and now it finally transforms me, and I get credit for it. So some of the other changes for the guild missions include the fact that guild treks are now responsible for giving you personal rewards. Guild treks were used in the very beginning when guild missions first came out to try to help you gain some of the guild currencies to unlock more guild missions. It wasn't something that was done after a while. Once you had all the guild missions unlocked, there was really no reason to do treks anymore because they were really unfun to do and they didn't give you any personal rewards. So there was no little chest or no promise of getting a rare or 2 out of them. So most guilds just stopped doing them. My guild hasn't done them for years. But now they're back in the Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns, and they now have personal rewards tied to them, so there's incentive to do them. And I hate them. I think they're a bad piece of content overall. What they do is they will give you a list of places that you need to go to. Right? They will give you 5 or 15 or however many, depending on how difficult the trek is. These places have to be found within a certain period of time. You have a time limit, and you need to stand in a little yellow circle in order to kind of get credit saying, hey, we've finished the guild trek. So it's like a scavenger hunt thing. But the reason why I think they're not fun, or the reason they aren't fun, is there's no way to find these places on your own just by using clever thinking. There's a time limit. You have a race to get there. They give you a little tiny thumbnail screenshot of the area and a little name of where it is, and you have to find where that is in the entire world. So what it boils down to is this mission becomes, hey, everybody, let's go look at the wiki, and we'll click the wiki, we'll find where all these things are, we'll copy and paste the waypoints, and then we'll just go run around. There's no gameplay to it, and you have to kind of use an outside resource unless you've memorized them all. And it's just not fun. And then the added thing with the guild treks in Heart of Thorns is only the people that are standing in the circle get the rewards for the mission. So now you have to coordinate. All right, if you have 30 people doing the guild trek and there are 5 places, you have to make sure all 30 people are standing in those circles when you activate those points. Otherwise, they won't get their personal rewards. The old way, it was everybody that was participating would just automatically get the rewards when the guild missions would complete. You wouldn't have to, the guild would get their rewards for the guild trek. There were no personal rewards. But any other mission there, you didn't, actually have to be right at that exact location to get your personal rewards. So it's a little bit frustrating. It took a lot of extra coordination to kind of make sure everybody was there. And I don't know, it just was a lot less fun this past couple weeks doing missions as a result. Some of the good news is they do now have different types of guild missions. For those people who are focused more on PvP or World versus World, there are now objectives that can cater to those play modes. And you can set your preferences in your guild hall, whether or not you want to get PvE missions or PvP missions or World versus World. And if you don't have any preference, they give you a 10% bonus favor. But we'll never do that. We'll never uncheck we're always going to have PvE checked, and there's two big reasons for it. For us personally, world versus world just is really not very feasible. Both of the guilds that I would run missions in have people from all different worlds or all different regions, right? We're just a big mass group. We're not server-based. We're not world-based. So jumping into world versus world to get those missions done basically means that only a handful of us that happen to be on the same server can participate. The PvP missions I did on the first week, they were fun, but you can only have 5 people in them at a time. And, you know, if you're going to have a night of guild missions, it doesn't really work really well to have, like, you know, 20, 25 people online and then, you know, have to split up into all these different groups and basically separate into different voice channels to get your guild missions done there. So overall, though there are new guild mission types, which I think is great, everyone that is in my circles, in my community, is still sticking to the PvE ones, and they didn't add any new PvE guild missions for Heart of Thorns, which is disappointing. Hopefully that's something that they rectify now that it's part of guild halls and people might be doing them more regularly again. I hope that's something that they have planned, because I really think that new PvE missions in the brand new zones would be amazing. So hopefully that's something that we hear more about soon. So that's going to really wrap things up there. Those are my thoughts on the new types of guild missions. There are definitely some issues going on there. Now, I will say I posted some of this feedback on Twitter, and there were some people that totally agreed that there were issues, and there were other people that were surprised to hear me say that there were issues with it. And so there are some people that aren't encountering any problems. I don't know what we're doing differently, or if we're just getting unlucky with some of these issues, but in general, I'm not a big fan of the instances for the guild missions because it seems to be having some sort of problem with the rewards being doled out appropriately. So anyway, I hope this brings to light some of the issues. I hope this explains it a little bit. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button before you go and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when future videos are released. I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Take care.